Oh, God.
Good evening,
Hello.
everybody.
Hello, Normal People, BBC.
So this is a review of
Sally Rooney's.
Sally Rooney's Normal People. I actually read the book a couple of months ago. We
Yes.
reviewed it on our No Name Sunday show.
Yeah.
And I bloody loved it.
You loved the book?
We loved the book.
Yeah.
We reviewed the trailer and I was a bit concerned about it.
were,
Because
weren't you?
I said, well, it all looks a bit glossy and she looks a bit too pretty because the central character is
Yeah.
supposed to be quite plain, captivating but plain.
Captivating. She reminded me a little bit of Anne Hathaway, sort
Yeah.
of even younger Anne Hathaway.
Problem with books, sometimes you get, and the joy of a book is you get such a clear image in
Yeah.
your head, don't you, of a character, that then if it's you know, if we then see it in a film or in a TV show, it can be so frustrating.
Well, I mean, it rarely reflects badly on the book if you've really enjoyed the book,
Yeah.
but it can often reflect very
Do you remember
badly
when
on the drama.
Selena, which was probably one of my favourite books
Serena.
of all time, Serena, probably one of my favourite books of all time. We had to leave the film.
Yes.
Because it was so
bad.
bad.
So bad.
It went against every single thing that the book was about.
Victoria Bradwell gets the Anne Hathaway. Well, I suppose in a way then, you know what's happening and what's going on and why it's going on.
Which is quite incredible because I don't usually remember books.
So a couple of things. Lenny Abrahamson, who's the directed a film called Room, starring the woman who plays Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
What's her bloody name? Can anyone remember her name? God, what is wrong with me? I normally remember these things. Brie Larson, and starred the young boy, and it was about them being locked in. And it wasn't a perfect film, but it was a very beautifully measured and paced film. And this has all those hallmarks. I love how a couple of things that stood out for me. I loved how restrained it was. I loved how undialogue it was. Is the book very undialogue?
Well, the book is... that's the right word. Unrestrained. What did you just
Restrained.
say? Restrained.
Very restrained.
That's the book.
Really?
And at the beginning, I wasn't sure because I didn't know whether I felt like I was sort of being held back.
Right.
But that is the joy of it.
Yeah.
And I think that was caught... The person who made the series must have loved the book.
Right. Victoria Bradwell felt so old watching it, and she's only 23. Someone saying it was stretching the bounds of believability that they were supposed to be 16. I'm guessing they're having to reach a much older age, are they?
Yeah, because we go through their relationship.
Yeah.
And actually, when I was reading the book, although there is a lot of sex in it, and the sex gets more graphic, I was halfway through the book, I thought, I want Maddie to read this. I want Maddie to read this, and I want Kiki to read it in a couple of years because we're always hearing how there's no romance anymore for that generation. And I think it's tragic, but it is romantic.
She's a curious character though, Marianne, isn't she? Insofar as she's an outsider, she's bullied, and yet she's very forthright, self-strong and assertive. Almost totally contradictory.
But what is revealed later in the book gives you some understanding of that.
Does it? Oh, God. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say...
It's going to be very frustrating for me not being able to tell you what her thing is.
Right. Well, I didn't like her mum, and clearly there's the social divide was clearly delineated by terrace house versus grand, opulent, detached house. Connor's mum is a cleaner in her house, so that makes him almost an employee himself, doesn't it, in a sense?
Not really. No.
Well, no. But I mean,
his mum is lovely.
But from the inference from even his friend in the back of the car was, "What are you, the butler?" There's that they're parking that thought in there that he's the sort of lower class, which I thought was clever. But I really like the way in which he went from, and just in these first two episodes, he went from. Oh, look, there's Chris Whitty on the telly. Sorry, he went from confident to vulnerable, and she went from vulnerable to confident. Just in the space of two episodes. And you gasped at one point when he said in the second episode something like, "Will you ever pretend to not know me?" And so I'm clearly sensing some sense.
No, because that's what he does to her the whole time.
Oh, right.
That's what you've seen so far.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
That's why she says, Connor, I would never pretend not to know you.
Oh,
because he was mortified. He heard himself and heard what he did.
I'm expecting and waiting for there to be a shift in the power basis between the two of them as they get older and more developed. I thought it was incredibly tender in its depiction of early love.
It was
and
lustful,
sex.
but it was love. It's young love.
Did anyone else, guys? Yeah, Lucy Rose loved the accent, Irish accent.
Because they're two incredibly smart people that understand because they've got a lot of numpties around them.
Anita O'Reilly, I don't think I ever got so lost in a TV programme.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's almost like a play. Beautiful.
It's almost like a painting.
Oh, I know.
I mean, long scenes, but not, scenes where they just hold the camera for great long years, as they call them, can run the risk of being very pretentious or a sign that they haven't got much to say or do. But I can really feel, it's almost, I'm not a fan of Jane Austen, right? But I felt when they did that first kiss in the house, the significance of it to her reminded me of that Jane Austen.
It did feel like a period drama. That's very true.
It did. I kept losing track of the fact that it was contemporary. Did you feel that?
Or maybe that's because we're not used to seeing gentle, hesitant romance. Everything I've seen where there's young people having sex, it was immediately whapping it in from behind.
Thanks for that, babe.
Well, no, but I get really cross with it because I think, what are young people supposed to think that haven't had sex? Are they supposed to think that's the only way it's ever done?
It's just it's a very vivid way of literally throwing it on the table.
It really makes me angry. So, and everyone looks like a maniac,
You're referring to Euphoria here.
Men look depraved, the boys look depraved, the girls look subjugated, and this was actually two people in what I would think was a loving act, sexual. That's why I want Maddie to watch it.
What do you think of his at this stage, if you were watching for the first time? What do you think of his not standing up for her in the school and ignoring her? I tell you what it did do.
I think
it reminded me of all those loyalties. There was one moment in episode 2.
I think it's difficult because he looks much older than he should.
Right.
Because we've got to go. So I think that makes it difficult
to believe that he wouldn't stand up for her. Or have
No, not that he wouldn't. But it's a problem. But of course, it's infuriating. But I think the actor just played it so brilliantly, like I'd read it in the book.
Right.
That he's there. Yes, that is weak, but everyone, when you're a kid, you're weak, aren't you? You want to stay with the crowd. Bad things happen when good men stand by and watch.
Yes.
And you see him torn, like when he's sitting on in the corridor when he's calling her flat-chested and stuff, and you can see the pain he's in. But how is he going? He's just as scared of the crowd as she is, but he's just in the popular crowd.
Yeah. I guess
the peer pressure is so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
At that age, but of course he doesn't look that age.
No, I get that. But I can see why they've gone for them at this age, these actors, because there's nothing better than the consistency of having the same actors.
You wouldn't want to change.
You don't want to do what they did in The Irishman, which is like paint them young or anything like that. But the other thing I want to say was, it's not often. It's not often you get high school dramas that are outside of America. That it really reminded me of being at secondary school, like nothing else has.
Too.
It reminded me of that sort of frisson of excitement when you fancy someone who walks past you, and it reminded me of that sense of you're in this group, they're in that group. And that adds to the frisson, so you can understand why there's this electricity between
I think the electricity just came across just screaming through the screen.
Okay, so you're saying this isn't like that sort of whop it on and whop it in sex sort of show, which it isn't, and that's good. But there's clearly something a little bit
Victoria
up.
Bradwell says she felt like she was back at school.
Did you? I did.
Bloody fantastic.
Brought it all back. Did it bring it back to you when they were standing and waiting outside the class? It reminded me of waiting outside my A-level class and all the chit-chat that you used to have just before you went into class.
Can I just ask you all, were you going to watch this anyway, or did you watch it because
a number of people
we told you it was on?
A number of people have said they're watching it because we recommended it.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes us so happy.
But can I just ask, because you obviously know why, she's clearly a bit of a one in the old sexual shenanigans. Because she keeps talking about him having things someone else.
RM Jams, I don't want you to summarise because I want you to watch it. But basically, at this point, it's two young people
falling in love. But there's clearly, she has a little strength. What's that about? What's going on there when she's asking him about, she watched him on the football pitch and thought of him having sex with someone else?
Well, I can't tell you any of that.
But she's clearly
everything will be revealed, and at points you will cry for her story.
Oh, don't. And will we cry for his?
I cried when I read the book.
And are we going to cry for his? Oh, God, yes.
And it's one of those will they, won't they, will they. Oh, and it follows them over years, all through university and...
Yeah, someone just said they didn't see the point of a sex scene unless it's there for gratuitous reasons. I totally disagree, unfortunately. This was incredibly tender. I found this awkward to watch, and I was really pleased none of our girls were down here. Not awkward to watch because of how explicit it was. I found it awkward to watch. It was a tribute to the actors because it felt so genuinely intimate.
Yes.
Didn't it? It felt
I usually go, God, when a sex scene comes up.
But it was so genuinely heartfelt and real. And I thought that was beautifully rendered by the director.
And that's why it didn't feel like porn and sex for sex sake. It really didn't. If ever there was a relevant sex scene, these were it.
Yeah, I don't like her mum. I can just say that. I really don't like her mum. I don't like her brother. It's obviously why she's a bit of a recluse. I like how she's she's like me. She's sociable but not social. I like that. But I'm worried that there's something dark under there. I can't work out who's more vulnerable than who. You're not saying much. You're just saying.
Well, you don't want me to tell you. If
No,
I did,
I
you
know.
start screaming at me for being a spoiler.
That's true. Yeah, don't be a spoiler. Anyway, guys.
The awful thing is that you can watch the entire bloody series now if you wanted. So
No, we're going to watch it as they go out on
I
telly.
want to watch them as they go out.
Yeah, so we'll watch these with you guys. I really liked it, and the way they behaved, Faith Goodman at school compared to Alone, was very powerful. It was, wasn't it? It was really well done. I like the way he was gentle and considerate to her feelings. Do check out the director's film Room. I mean,
That's
Nadia,
why I think it's a good thing for teenagers to watch. That's how it should be.
Nadia didn't want to watch Room because it was about a woman trapped in a room.
Can't watch that.
But it's more than that.
With somebody kidnapped her.
No,
and
I
raped her.
know, but you don't actually see anything explicit.
No, I know,
It's
but
just
you
very
keep saying
intensely
that. It
done.
doesn't make any difference to me.
Thinks she can stand up for herself, but just followed a crowd. Lucy Rose. I hate hearing sloppy kissing. Yeah, I can hear that. Michael Tidswell. Yeah, we've got your message. Thank you. And Nicola Wilson. Hello. She does seem to be in control of. Yeah, I would hazard. Okay, let me tell you what I think is going to happen quickly, and then we'll sum up. I think what's going to happen is she's already helping steer him towards an academic future that she thinks would be better suited to him. He's going to take that route. He's going to try it. They're both going to kind of graduate and move on to bigger and better things. She's going to far exceed him, going to get bored with him. She's going to outgrow him, and he's going to be left yearning for her in the way that she was yearning for him.
Well, that would be very predictable, wouldn't it?
It might be, but it could be done beautifully. Oh, okay. All right.
They'd your way off.
Well, there you go, guys. You've had 5 lives with us. If you haven't seen it and you haven't watched it tonight, watch it.
It's really good.
Beautifully done. And this is a woman who was very circumspect about it after the trailer, weren't you? You were like, I don't see.
And remember, I've read the book and loved the book, so I love the series. So that is amazing. So it genuinely is really good.
Yeah. So congratulations to the director and the cast. Really beautiful actually. I thought a tender piece of television.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Anyway, guys, tell us your thoughts though. Watch it and pop your thoughts under here afterwards, and we'll mention them in the next review of the next episode. Have a good sleep, and we'll see you for coffee in the morning. Bye.